Welcome back, everyone, to another Explainer. Today, we're tackling this massive, honestly frustrating challenge that almost every single one of us hits at some point. I'm talking about that exhausting, never-ending cycle of goal fatigue. You know the exact feeling, right? You get super inspired, you set this massive goal, you burn out, and boom, you find yourself right back where you started. But today, we're going to fix that. We're focusing on architecting automatic consistency. We are going to break down a precise, totally foolproof framework designed to take all that heavy lifting off of your daily willpower and place it squarely onto a structured, reliable system. Okay, let's dive into this. Think of this explainer as a structural blueprint that will help us build a foolproof consistency system. Here are the exact steps we're going to cover today. First, the willpower trap. Second, lock in your target. Third, define your non-negotiables. Fourth, plan your reactions. And finally, attach to your routine. Now, the source material presents this core thesis that completely shifts how we view failure and success. It states, you don't have a discipline problem, you have a system problem. This is huge. So often, we beat ourselves up when we fall off track. We think, oh, I'm just not tough enough, or I'm not motivated enough. But honestly, that is completely backward. Because if sheer willpower was actually enough for you to succeed, well, you would have already achieved all of your goals by now, right? Willpower is just a finite resource. It literally drains throughout the day. Systems, on the other hand, they don't.
So let's start with step 1, the willpower trap, and exactly why relying on motivation fails.
And this brilliantly illustrates the flawed foundation most people build their goals upon. It's a toxic, repetitive loop that visually validates why we constantly find ourselves starting over from scratch. Look at step 1. You feel motivated. The emotion is super high. Step 2. You start. You go out, buy the expensive running shoes, and swear that this time is going to be different. But then, step 3, life inevitably happens. You get busy, you get tired, it's only Tuesday, and maybe an unexpected bill pops up, which leads to step 4, you stop. And finally, step 5, you restart from scratch a few months later when motivation randomly strikes again. Motivation is just an emotion, guys, and like all emotions, it comes and goes. We absolutely cannot build consistency on something so fleeting. We have to forget about motivation entirely if we want to break this cycle.
That brings us to step 2, locking your target, or setting the cornerstone.
This is where we start building that cornerstone of our automatic consistency system. We need absolute precision here. Most people, they operate in this cloud of vague intentions, like, I want to grow, or I'll try to work out more. Or worse, they're juggling 10 massive goals all at once. But compare that to a real structural blueprint. I will post 2 videos every week for the next 30 days. The difference is just staggering. When you lock in just one specific outcome with a firm deadline, you completely eliminate ambiguity. And here is the fascinating psychological shift that happens. When the target is this crystal clear, your brain completely stops negotiating with you and it immediately starts executing. You don't wake up wondering what you should do. The decision is already made.
Let's move to and see how this builds into step 3, define your non-negotiables, which is exactly like installing load-bearing walls.
Think of these non-negotiables as the load-bearing walls of your new system. Most people are really great at deciding what they want to do, but they totally fail to decide what absolutely must happen no matter what. The source material tells us we need to pick 2 or 3 specific actions that we're going to do regardless of our mood, regardless of our energy levels, and completely regardless of the circumstances. For instance, this could mean locking in uploading twice a week, or committing to working out a minimum of 4 days a week. It doesn't matter if you're exhausted. It doesn't matter if it's pouring rain outside. These 2 to 3 actions are entirely locked in. They are absolutely not optional. They are the baseline of your consistency.
Moving right along to step 4, plan your reactions. We're weatherproofing against the storm here.
To truly weatherproof your system, we have to be honest for a quick second. You already know exactly where you're going to slip up. Since we know for a fact we're going to face obstacles, we really shouldn't act surprised when they show up. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely removes willpower from the equation and replaces it with a predetermined script. If the trigger is feeling lazy, your scripted reaction is already set. I will still do 10 minutes. If the trigger is a craving for junk food, your script dictates, I will eat something lighter first. If you just don't feel like working, your reaction is already pre-planned. I will start with the easiest part. You are no longer standing at a crossroads trying to somehow magically summon the motivation to do the right thing. You're just reading from a script you wrote for yourself when you were in a clear state of mind.
And that brings us to step 5, attach to your routine, which is all about integrating into the grid.
This is the final piece of the blueprint, and it comes with a vital caution. If this shiny new plan you've created remains entirely separate from your existing daily life,
you simply will not stick to it. You have to connect your new goals to things you already do automatically every single day. Let's look at some examples. After brushing your teeth, review your targets. You're going to brush your teeth anyway, right? So you tether the new habit to the existing one. When you open your laptop, start your main task immediately. After dinner, check off what you've completed. By hooking your new actions onto these existing anchors, it entirely removes the need to even think about when to act. The environmental cue just naturally pushes you into the execution phase. So the crucial point is that consistency doesn't come from some magical well of endless inspiration. It comes from structure. This systematic framework we've just walked through, setting one clear target, locking in your non-negotiables, planning your reactions, and attaching it all to your daily routine, it functions perfectly even when you are tired, distracted, or just straight up not in the mood. When you have this architecture in place, consistency actually stops feeling like an exhausting uphill struggle, and it finally becomes an automatic background process in your life.
I want to leave you with this final, incredibly provocative question to ask yourself the very next time you face a difficult task. Are you relying on your mood, or are you following your system? It's time to abandon goal fatigue once and for all, guys. Take these 5 steps, build your structural blueprint, and let your newly built system make consistency an automatic reality for you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.